Hey guys, just getting turned on here. Welcome, welcome. Seeing some familiar names pop up. And I was at a conference earlier today in Salt Lake that I spoke at, and conversations afterwards made it so that I couldn't make it quite home. So I only made it. I live down in Payson, Salt Lake to Payson. For those of you that are around here, know that's a bit of a drive. But my family's from Sandy. I grew up in Sandy here, and so I'm sitting in my old bedroom. I've got a deer behind me. I'm not sure who shot that deer. I didn't do that one. I've got my own on my wall at home. But yeah, good to see you guys. Good to see you, Jason. Good to have you guys jumping on here. We'll kind of go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna be mostly on here, but I'll try to bounce back and forth in if there's questions. And guys, I apologize. I'm on my phone today because I was expecting to be able to be back at home with my laptop and all my cool gear to make a good AMA. But anyway, it's going to be fun. So I have to kind of bounce around, and I'll check Q&A, and I'll check Discord. And there's some people on there that are going to have some questions on here, and so I'll dive into that. But anyway, this is being recorded. Looks like Amy on Discord's asking that. It is being recorded, so I'll do my best. As many of you know, we let some people go this last week, or let's see, it's on Halloween, I guess, was the specific day that we actually let people go. But anyway, some of the people, or one of the people we let go, was people that were managing Discord for us, and so I apologize. It's been a little quieter in there. You guys are still important to us, and we care about that communication channel. I want to make sure you guys have as much information as possible. Discord is mostly for people that are invested in the Ocavu network token, and some of you are there just to be there, and some of you are there for Coog's Rise and other things we're working on, and other projects that are going to be coming along. But anyway, we'll do our best. We're trying to kind of reassign who's taking care of what, and obviously I have a lot to do, so I can't be in charge of it all the time. But I'm trying to poke my head in there as often as possible. Great. Okay. So first off, let's go over a couple updates. I'll talk about layoffs, things like that a little bit, because I think it's important to just acknowledge. We're running a business here, and we have limited funds, right? It's a math equation, right? And we ended up we raised a bunch of money earlier this year. And we've been raising, again, we've been around since 2016. So we've kind of been around the block, gone through plenty of rounds of layoffs before, and then rounds of hiring 20 people and 5 people and 10 people. And so we're just in a cycle. But earlier this year, we grew really fast, probably faster than we should have. But that's I was just operating on the best information I had, right? 2020, hindsight's 2020. It's very easy to look back and say, oh yeah, well, had I known this was going to happen, and this market condition was going to happen, and this deal was going to end up taking 6 months longer than we expected, whatever, right? It's easy to go back and judge that, but for the most part, we feel like we've made good decisions. People that we let go were let go for different reasons. Again, love everybody that has worked for the company. There's nobody where I'm like, man, I hated that person. I'm so glad they're gone. But ultimately, when you do a scale back a little bit, you just have to focus on, okay, who is delivering for customers, who is helping bring new customers, and who's building the product, right? I mean, ultimately, those are the main things you need. You need to make sales, you need to maintain customers, and you need to keep the product going, right? You need to make sure that the dev team is strong enough to do that. And so with all of the cutbacks that we did, I think the only place that's really suffered is Discord. Discord management, which again, you guys are important, but in the grand scheme of things, in the entire company, the most important things are the customers. And so we have not had to drop any customers. We have not skipped a beat there. We're bringing new customers on. We've closed a couple deals in the last week, and we have some very awesome deals that I can talk about a little bit here. Some of which are landed and some of which are pending that are going to be pretty awesome that I could talk about. So all in all, it's great that somebody decided to write an article about us laying off 12 people, but ultimately, it's just we're running a business, no big deal. So hopefully that clears up a little bit there. Let's see. So I went to Web Summit, and Web Summit was awesome. Web Summit, for those of you that don't know, is a big tech conference that happens every year in Lisbon, Portugal. And if you've never been to Portugal, I highly recommend it. I brought my wife and my kids this time with me. I've been to it before, and last time I went, I said, man, I got to bring my family next time. It's such a beautiful place. And it was so beautiful. Brought my parents as well. And I had a few days of conference, but then some good time just going around and looking at castles and having a good time with the family, which I needed as well. It's good to step away. I've also been, it's been probably, I think I've missed the last 2 AMAs, which means it's been 6 weeks since I've talked to you guys, and I apologize for that. I really do like getting on camera and talking to you guys, answering questions, things like that. But I had hip surgery August 19th, and then I had shoulder surgery about a month after that, like about 4 weeks, almost exactly. I think it was September 19th. I think it was exactly a month after that. And then I had a hernia surgery right on my belly button. So, and that was about a month after that. So I had like 8, 9, 10 weeks of 3 surgeries, and I got sick, and I had some travel in there. And so I've just been like all over the place, guys. So I apologize. I apologize for not being able to be there. And a couple of usually the surgeries that I get are on Mondays. For some reason, that's just a surgery day. And, I did one surgery. I did one AMA, I think August 20th, like the day after my hip surgery, like from my bed, if you remember that. But anyway, I couldn't do that on the other ones. They were a little bit harder sometimes. And my body just really broke down trying to heal. So it was really tough. But, amongst all that, trying to focus on, just the most important things in the company, which were, fundraising and closing deals and supporting the team and doing everything I could. And so I apologize that I haven't been able to be on the AMA. Anyway, glad to be here. Glad to be doing that. But Web Summit was fun and productive. It's really productive. Met with some big companies. L'Oreal is one that I think is going to become a big customer and do some Web3 stuff with us. So that's obviously a very big brand. I think there's some exciting opportunities there. And L'Oreal, actually, if you don't know, they actually own something like 25 or 30 brands. They're like all brands you would know. They're all, beauty, type brands and stuff like that. But they want to start some communities using the Ocavu Network platform to be able to add value to, like, kind of add a premium tier, an elite tier to some of what they're doing, which I think is pretty cool. So that was a good meeting I had out there. I met with about 10 different investor groups. Out of all of them, I think only one of them was really actually a good fit. Most of the time, investor discussions with me these days are just like, hey, what's your stage? What do you focus on? What do you do here? Whatever, right? And we can identify pretty quickly whether or not we're going to be a good fit. And but there was one that was actually really good, and we have some meetings continuing to go on with that. And so that was just that out there. There were also a couple other meetings with potential partners that are in the Web3 space. I can't talk a lot about yet, but there was a good number of Web3 companies at this summit. There was like a whole day dedicated to the main stage in Pavilion 2 there, which was kind of leading or emerging tech, stuff like that. It's all about Web3. Really cool. So that's a big change. The past Web Summit that I went to, Web3 was hardly even brought up, right? It was maybe like one random speaker in a corner talking about it. And this time it was a bigger thing. Let's see here. What else do I want to talk about? I want to talk about FTX for a second. I think that's worth talking about overall. I'm sure, there's been a couple comments in the Discord, things like that, but I've had a lot of discussions with different people in the industry. And, for those of you that don't know, I'm sure most of you do, but FTX was the second largest centralized exchange of crypto. And so it's a place where you could go and buy and sell crypto and different things and do some DeFi stuff, as well as keep your money. You can keep your money on the centralized exchange. And, Coinbase would be a centralized exchange. Crypto.com would be one as well. Anyway, there were basically zero safeguards put in place. And turned out that the managing team, the executive team, and founder, and they all embezzled money. And anyway, long story short, the company went from being the darling of the crypto world to zero almost overnight. About a week ago. And yeah, it's been a fun week to watch. I won't talk too much about it, other than the fact that if you are keeping money on a centralized exchange, know that you don't have control over what happens to your money, right? Because there is no regulation. There's no FTC insured. There's no, hey, you're going to, get your money back or you can sue somebody. It's gone. That money is gone. There was over $10 billion of deposits on that platform that will never see the original owner's hands again. It's gone. And so, yeah, anyway, be careful where you put your money. I have money on a couple centralized exchanges, and I'm moving some things around and making sure that I can, have control of that. Something like MetaMask, just for, FYI's sake, is not centralized, right? That's a decentralized place where you own the keys. Nobody can touch your money. Nobody even knows who it is. It's completely anonymized. But yeah, if you're on Coinbase, if you're on crypto.com, if you're on Binance or anything, those are all centralized. And so if those systems go down and you have a ton of money in there, it's not great, not great. So I feel bad for everybody that is on those different exchanges and that lost a huge amount of money. Lots of investors, big investors that put $300, $500 million into these things. It's just gone. So it makes for some good reading. So yeah, dive into Twitter or Google or whatever, and you can look it up if you haven't done much there. But overall, I think it was and I want to say this as in the way that I don't even know how to say this, but I think I'm glad it happened. I'm really glad it happened. The bottom line was, had it happened today, it was, or had it not happened last week, it was going to happen today or next week or next month. That money was gone. It was being embezzled and it was being spent and it was being invested and it was being given away. It was not like this was going to happen at some point. And to have the second largest exchange in the world be that messed up, I'm glad it all came very publicly crumbling and tumbling down, because it's going to force the market to put more regulation on Web3, and regulation will bring more people into it. It will bring bigger dollar amounts into it, more funds, sovereign state wealth funds. It will bring all kinds of money that can't touch it right now because there's no regulation. These guys didn't even have a board. They didn't have a CFO. They didn't have any. They had no controls. They had no controls in place. And I can promise you, Ocavu is run better than that. So, anyway, guys, overall, I think it's a couple good things. One, it's going to bring regulation, and two, I think, again, this is just my opinion, but I believe this signals pretty close to the bottom of the market. And so, I'm in a buying mode at this point now with crypto overall. So take that for what it is. Okay, I'm going to jump in and ask or answer a few questions. You'll say there's a couple on Discord. Let's see what I can find here. So let's see here. So while names might not be able to be mentioned on who we're signing, it would be awesome to hear more details about the specifics of what Ocavu will be doing over the next few clients getting onboarded so we can better understand Ocavu's capabilities. This is really good. Good question. This is from Brent on Discord. So I will talk about a couple of things, and I'll speak in broad strokes, and I'll do my best to avoid NDA problems here, right? So what I can say is that we are working with one very big sports league. And some of you have potentially heard rumors about this, and the deal is not signed. It is not signed yet, but it should be signed this month, right? There's meetings tomorrow in person in New York related to this. and then there's a kind of last, contract language back and forth in negotiation, but we've already done most of that. It's basically done. It's now just, let's make sure the lawyers are good, dot some I's, cross some T's, and we are off to the races. This contract will be, it will make the BYU contract look tiny. The size of an entire sports league as compared to one university is obviously massive. These leagues have 500 million fans. And we'll be doing some really cool stuff with it. I'll talk about it a little bit. I don't want to get too much into it, but it's really going to be focused on the players and a decentralized community approach for the players. So if you're a fan of player X, you can go and essentially subscribe to his channel and be a premium subscriber, and you would pay a monthly fee. Now, all of this is going to be done in a Web3 format, right? So technically, you're renting an NFT behind the scenes. That's what's actually happening behind the scenes. But in reality, you're just subscribing to premium benefits, and then you can pay more money to have more one-on-one experiences with player X or player Y or player Z. And so we're actually going to be using this same structure, and it's going to kind of change some of the way that Cougs Rise works even. We've looked at this at scale, and one of the really difficult things about Cougs Rise is it's very manual. There's a lot of work. We have several people on our team, and all they do is manage the Cougs Rise account. And while we are making money with Cougs Rise, and the players are making money with Cougs Rise, the BYU players are, and all that, it's working, right? It is a ton of work. And so I never think in terms of one deal. What does one deal do? Okay, yes, we can handle Cougs Rise, right? And maybe we will always handle it a little bit different because it's close to home, and it's it's kind of a learning ground. We're doing lots of fun stuff with BYU because they're a great partner, and they're willing to try lots of cool things. But ultimately, if we want to scale this to even 50 universities, even 10 universities, it'd be a nightmare. We'd have 30 or 40 employees just dealing with those universities, 2, 3, 4 people per school, trying to work with the athletes and sign different things. And it's not scalable. Is really the answer there. And so we're building systems that make a lot of the things that our employees are doing. We're building systems that make those processes automated. We're doing things that make content creation automated. I heard some really cool updates today where, if you jump on Cougs Rise and you look at some of the assets of athletes where they're, it kind of goes back and forth like this, and you can see a card, and you see the kind of does a 360, and the player's doing something cool. We now have a way to just upload a photo, and the system will automatically spit everything out without any manual labor. And that's really cool. That's exciting. So we're building cool things, right? We still use our visual technology side of Ocavu, behind the scenes a lot, and a lot of our image processing and automated pipelines that Ocavu is built on, that the entire immersive network is built on. So anyway, long story short, Cougs Rise is going to get better. We've got a big sports league that's going to be this is going to be very, very involved. The players will be involved. And these are, again, biggest type of people out there that you can find, and it's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be really fun for everybody involved, and especially for fans of these players and of these sports. They're gonna get to engage with players like never before, and I think that's exciting. I'll talk about another one. We have so one of the products that we've been working on, and many of you know this because you experienced it at least in a minor way. Some of you went to Cryptopia back in May. Some of you have come to BYU games and used, your Ocavu network, your different digital collectibles and golden tickets to redeem things at the Cougs Rise tent and stuff like that, or at the booth. But our ticketing product is taking center stage. We have some big. We've closed some. We've closed some big people. One of them I mentioned in the Discord called Metanoise. Metanoise is a big event company kind of in the metaverse, and a big agency that does all kinds of stuff, and music festivals and all kinds of events. There have tons of events going on that are growing every day, and they we're now the ticketing provider for that. We've got a major university that has the value of the contract for this specific university when we land it to Ocavu will be about $1.7 million. It's significant, right? And that's just taking 2% of every ticket for every event. every sporting event, every art, fine arts event, every whatever, right? We have conferences that are coming to us that like Web Summit type conference that are saying, hey, we want to run our ticketing systems for your thing. The Ocavu network ticketing system, you can go to our website. I think it's like go.ocavu.com/sticky-tickets or something like that. I'll find the link and I'll put it in the Discord later so you guys can look at it. But our product is called Sticky Tickets, right? And it has a huge amount of benefits. NFT ticketing is a massive future for Web3 in general. There are several companies out there doing it. I believe our company is further along than others. Sorry, I hope that didn't cut things off. I just got a phone call. I think I'm still good. But anyway, the ticketing product is awesome. NFT tickets have some benefits. One is the venue or the university or the athletic team or the musician or whoever's putting the event on usually doesn't participate in the secondary market sales, right? Someone like Ticketmaster or StubHub, they're taking a huge percentage. Every time you take a ticket and you post it on there and then someone buys it. So if I take a ticket and I post it for $100, I might end up getting, $85 or something because Ticketmaster is going to take a 15% cut from my side. And then they're going to charge like 15 or 20% on the other side, on the buyer side. The person's going to pay, that's buying it $120 for a $100 ticket. And so they're making $35 off of a $100 ticket. And the venue loses, the people buying it lose. Like it's not cool, right? And so we believe we can very profitably cut those fees down by 80% and say, yeah, we're still going to take a fee, but the fees are going to go to the right place. A little fee will go to the Ocavu, network, the system that's doing it, but the bigger fee will go to the venue. It will go to the artist. It will go to the people that are actually putting the event on. So that when a ticket is sold for $100 and then it gets really popular and now it's worth $500, the artist, the venue can benefit from that. So that's one thing. The secondary market sales, fraud prevention is another huge thing with ticketing. There have been so many different events out there that have been in the news lately that where people show up with fraudulent tickets and it's just photocopies of tickets. It's not hard. It's low tech. Anytime you have a paper ticket, it's easy to say, hey, I'm going to go sell this to people. You can sell something on something like a KSL or a Craigslist or eBay or whatever, right? And you have no way to verify whether or not it's actually a real ticket. If it's a blockchain-based ticket, it's all digital, it's verified. There's no way to break that system. At least it's very, very, very difficult. Your average person isn't going to be able to make that happen. So, so ticketing is incredible. It's going to play a bigger role in our company. And one thing that all of you should know, if you're an Ocavu Network token holder, is those tickets. Every single time a ticket is sold, 2% of that, 1.9%, I should be exact here, 1.9% of it goes towards purchasing the Ocavu Network token, which will participate in some of this auto deflationary engine thing that I'm sure I need to talk about here as well. So, anyway, those are a couple things coming up. Big ticketing stuff. Major sports league that's coming. We'll get more details on that as it becomes public. It's supposed to launch in February, so it's close, but we'll probably announce it sometime sooner than that. And to Discord people, at least we'll give you the inside scoop. All right, and there's tons of other deals, but those are just some big ones. So Brent also asked, is Ocavu looking for buyers? Has been mentioned. I'm curious if Ocavu is actively looking to sell or if offers are coming in. I'd also be curious who is looking at Ocavu to purchase, if that is allowed. Yeah, definitely can't talk about names of people that are interested. So as you both know, or as many of you know, sorry, we have two sides of our business. We have the immersive side, and then we have the Web3 side, the Ocavu network side. We'll call it, for sake of this discussion, Seek, which is the old immersive business, and then Ocavu, which is the new Web3 side. So they're while they do overlap, like if you look at Coog's Rise, there's 3D content on there and augmented reality, and we're using our systems, and that's great. For the most part, the relationship between Ocavu and Seek is more of a customer relationship. Ocavu is a customer to Seek. Seek is rarely a customer to Ocavu. But sometimes we want, on the Ocavu side, we want immersive technology. And so, obviously we're in the same company right now, so we're not actually customers. But if we were to sell Seek to another company, say someone like Meta, right? And I can tell you right now, Meta is not one of those buyers, but they could be. They absolutely could be, and there's discussions that could make that possible. But right now, if we were to sell that to somebody like Meta, that is obviously very active in the metaverse and wants to buy an immersive hosting platform that can be used for whatever, right? And they want to pay us $70 million for it. Okay, fantastic. That can provide all kinds of funding to Ocavu. Can provide some great liquidity for existing shareholders. Provide all kinds of good things. And so we actually have 4 different groups looking at Seek right now, and we actually have 3 different groups looking at. Another call came through. We have 3 different groups looking at Ocavu, right? And so, which is interesting. We have people that are already interested in buying our ticketing product from us. And I'm not really interested in that right now, but it's interesting that people are coming to us. And so the reality is, Brent, we don't have people, we're not like out there calling people up, hey, will you buy our company, right? That's not exactly what we're doing. But we are certainly open to discussions around that and looking at different pieces. We're not necessarily looking to sell the entire company, but I'll never turn down a discussion. If somebody comes to me and says, hey, I want to give you $500 million for your company, I'm going to entertain that offer. I'm going to look at it, right? But if someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to give you $50 million for your whole company, I'm not as interested, right? And so it just comes down to a numbers game. These types of decisions, guys, it's nice to talk about it, and it's nice to say there's people looking at whatever, but they're always game time decisions. We're always going to look at it, and it's easy to say, what if this, what if that? And this is kind of a useless exercise. The reality is, if somebody puts a term sheet in front of us and says, here's the number I want to give you, great. We'll look at it as a board and we'll make a decision, and then we'll do that thing. But it's really hard to speculate on that, and it really isn't very productive either. The reality is there's always some level of somebody who's interested in something that we're doing. And we've had, we had 2 buyout offers last year. We had one of them from one of the biggest social networks in the world. Okay. And we had somebody offer us $65 million for the whole company. And this was before we launched the Ocavu network. We ended up turning it down. So even though there are deals out there, it doesn't mean we're going to take it. We're going to make good decisions that help everybody, and things that need to be considered in that are people, even Ocavu network token holders, right? What does selling the company do to that element of the business? If it gets, if Meta came in and bought everything that we have, are they going to keep the token going? I don't know. Probably not, I would guess, right? And so those are the types of things that need to be talked about and considered, and we need to figure out how to make sure everyone's treated fairly, and we'll do our best. But ultimately, remember that the Ocavu network token, this is very important, guys. The Ocavu network token is not a security. It is not an interest in the company. If the company does get sold to somebody who doesn't care about the token, it will go to zero. Absolutely, it will go to zero. I want that to be clear. I mean, it might not go to zero. Maybe somebody will take it and do it. It's a decentralized token. It's out in the open. People can do what they want with it. But while we are running the Ocavu network, which we plan on doing for many, many, many years, we plan on building the value of the Ocavu network as a whole, which in turn, theoretically, should build the Ocavu network token, which supports the efforts behind that, right? And so ultimately, we're doing things to optimize for all parties involved. But we anyway, we won't be able to. We won't be able to guarantee the outcome of anything, and an acquisition is definitely, I would consider it a negative event for Ocavu network token holders. That would be my my guess. I mean, there's potentially ways that could be mitigated, which is worth it's worth exploring. I've thought about it a lot, right? But we don't need to dive into it too much here. Okay, so Brent just asked layoffs. I'm sure it's on everyone's mind about financials. Hope much rope Ocavu has. Oh, see, okay, and how quickly money can start coming in if not solely being run on VC money. Well, first of all, guys, we're not being solely run on VC money. We have Ocavu has something like 70 clients. We have a lot of big customers, ranging from Meta is one of our biggest clients, Lowe's, Sam's Club, Nestle, Lego. We have tons of huge clients that are awesome, and so we run on revenue. Plus, sometimes VC money comes in. As I mentioned in the beginning of the call, we hired a bunch of people and thought a few deals were going to come in. They didn't come in. Okay, so we have to adjust. No big deal. It is a big deal. It is a big deal for the people that we had to let go. But it's nothing out of the ordinary. That's what I would say, right? We're not letting people go because VC money ran dry or anything like that. We did also close the office, by the way, guys. We have, at our peak, we had something like 42 employees or something like that, and our office was set up to be able to handle, I don't know, somewhere around 60 employees, and we thought that we might grow into that this year. And obviously, market, crypto, and all kinds of crazy stuff happening. Market conditions didn't allow us to grow quite as fast as we wanted to, and so we had a $30,000 a month office. We're like, okay, there's like 15 people that come here every day, because even though we have these employees, not everyone was even coming to the office, because it was only required to be at the office 2 or 3 days a week, depending on what position you were in the company. And so most of the time we had 10 to 15 people there, and it's just a waste of money. So we decided, hey, let's just close the office for now, and we'll find a new place to hang out as after the new year. We're not gonna worry about it. During the holidays, there's a lot of people that are traveling anyway. So we will have another office. We'll get that again. Right now we're not going to pay 30 grand. We were very grateful to our hosts, the landlords and people that were there that let us leave on the terms that we did. We're really excited about that. So we're saving money, but good stuff. Good stuff, guys. Okay, let me check the Q&A here, see if there's anything. Okay, how do I get back to this thing here? All right. Okay, I think I've answered all the Discord questions. All right, I'm just looking down the list here. Lots of good people in here. All right. Cool. I'm not seeing many questions. Let me talk about, I know one of the things people did want me to talk about was the auto deflation engine. What does that mean, right? And it's very simple. If you read the light paper that we wrote back in May, before we launched the token, there are a couple purposes to the token, but one of the purposes of the token is to pair it with community tokens that will be created, right? And so far we have created no tokens, right? We announced the mixtape token, right, which got postponed, and that's still going. But the next communities that we're going to be working with. So I can tell you this: BYU has asked for a token. We're not launching a token yet with them. We have a couple other communities that have asked for a token. I have one person who we may bring on to an upcoming AMA who wants to launch a really cool site all about kind of guessing what the next prices are going to be, kind of like we did with our little Ocavu network token price guessing game. Anyway, they want to make their own token and their own kind of system where you buy tokens and then you can use those tokens to like place guesses or bets or whatever you want to call them. I don't know. We're still trying to figure out exactly what that looks like. But anyway, they want to run that on the Ocavu network, and that would require their own token. So bottom line is that plan is not gone by any means. We do plan on still continuing to power community tokens, but we've held off on pushing that part of our business hard for the moment because we didn't have some of these mechanisms in place, like the full-fledged community management that will be used to run this league and that we'll be installing in Cougs Rise. We didn't have the auto deflation engine, and it is almost ready. It's supposed to be ready like any second. I thought it was gonna be ready 2 weeks ago, and then we got pulled. The person in our company that was working on it got pulled onto another thing, and then we pulled him off of it. And then anyway, he's back on it now, and so it should be done pretty soon. So anyway, one of the main purposes of the token is this community token. In order for us to do that at scale long term, we need Ocavu network token in our treasury. Now, in our treasury right now, we have, I don't know what the exact number is, guys. It's 300 million or something like that, right? It's some percentage. It hasn't been touched. If you go look at the Ocavu network treasury, it's just chilling at whatever it was when we launched. Although maybe we did pay, I guess we did pay one vendor in some Ocavu network token from the treasury. So we have used it to actually pay somebody for that was interested in that piece, and so that's great. But ultimately, we need to continually buy network tokens. Now, when we buy Ocavu network tokens and then we pair them with, let's say, the mixtape token, when we actually make that pair, we're going to put it into a liquidity pool, and it's going to stay there forever. It's gone. It's not really, but it's essentially burned. It's gone from open market. Like, we can't go get it out, right? Like, go take it back. It's just going to sit there and power that token forever, right? And so as we buy tokens back, so that means we need to continually buy tokens. And so the way that we do that is we apply a 1.9% buying pressure from every single transaction that happens on the Ocavu network. Now, here's the interesting thing. Even though we haven't turned on the auto deflation engine yet, every single purchase that has happened on Cougs Rise, on anything on our system that's ever happened, we have a perfect record of it. And it's actually just been building up on a ledger. And as soon as we turn it on, it's gonna start buying in small chunks. You'll start to see these regular buys, although they'll be regularly irregular or irregularly regular. I don't know what the right word is there, but they might happen in 2 hours, and then one might happen 18 hours later, one might happen 2 hours later, one might happen 24 hours later. Anyway, it's randomized so that it can't be used for a pump and dump scenario. But we'll be buying things in regular amounts that will be mirroring basically 2% of all of the volume that's coming through the Ocavu network. So as the Ocavu network grows and millions of dollars are being flown through there because of ticket sales or events that are happening or big groups that are running their community through there and selling things, anything that gets sold through there, 1.9% of it will go towards purchasing Ocavu network token. And so that will naturally take Ocavu network token. It will naturally be deflationary. I'm sorry, am I saying that right? Yes, it will be deflationary, and it will take supply off the market, right? And so as the Ocavu network continues to grow and more companies need to use it and want to use it, then it will become more and more scarce, right? So we start with $1 billion and we'll just go down and down and down as more and more communities come in. And even if there aren't tons of communities being pushed and we just have a big treasury, we'll just continue to have a treasury. We're just taking off the market. It's just sitting there. But the primary use for that treasury is going to be either one, paying a vendor or something like that, but two, putting it into those communities, right? Pairing with tokens. So that's theoretically how it works. And that thing's supposed to turn on any day. I hope that makes sense, guys. I hope the auto deflationary engine makes sense. By the way, we need to figure out. So we did this price guessing competition, right? I'm not sure who won. I need to see. I haven't even seen the document of like where all the answers are and who. Anyway, so we need to figure that out, and we need to get that award out. I think I don't remember what the reward was, 10,000 Ocavu or something like that. We'll go back, we'll find it. Again, somebody else was managing this stuff until Halloween. So now all of a sudden it's back on me and other people at the company. And so we'll figure it out. We'll get it back to you guys. So excited to award that. I'd like to do some other awards. And in fact, I've got some BYU basketball tickets to the game tomorrow evening versus, who is it? Somebody good, probably Missouri State. And I want to do a giveaway here. So if you want the tickets, ask a good question on the Zoom meeting. If you're on the Zoom meeting, if you're not, sorry you're not here live. But if you're on the Zoom meeting and you want basketball tickets, ask me a good question, and I'll pick my favorite question. Could just be, why are you so handsome, or whatever. But anyway, I think it's all guys on the platform. By the way, I just spoke while people were thinking of a cool question or something to say on the Q&A here. I just spoke at a cool event that was about bringing more women into Web3, and surprisingly, I think this was the first event I've ever been to where there were actually more women than men there, and it was by a ratio of probably 2 to 1, maybe even a little more than 2 to 1. And so that was exciting. It's exciting to see that. We definitely need more women. Clearly, we do in Ocavu here. We've got. I see one. Let's see, 1, 2. I see 2 women on here, both of whom I know, and I'm happy to see you, Vonda. Good to see you, and Auburn as well. We miss you, Vonda. But anyway, we need more women. We do need more women in Web3, and we're building products, guys, at Ocavu. We're so focused on real world solutions, and real world solutions are used equally by men and women, right? Maybe if you look at like the NFT craze and Bored Apes and whatever, maybe I don't call that a real world solution. That was very heavy male. But if you're building tickets, obviously a sporting event might be a little heavier male, but it's actually not, right? You go to the BYU basketball game, you've got husband and wife and boyfriend and girlfriend and female students and male students. It's a good split in there, right? If you go to different types of events that happen at BYU, if you go to a dance competition or something, it's gonna be way more heavy women, right? But these are real solutions that women will use, and so because of that, as a business owner and as a product leader, and people that are building real world solutions, we need those opinions. We need people to be able to come in and say, hey, we're we don't get this. I don't like the way this is designed. I think that color doesn't feel good. I don't feel warm and fuzzy when I see that. I think this button should be over here. Hey, I don't understand this wording. Maybe you should make it differently. Or I do understand this, but I don't know if a lot of other people understand it, or whatever it is, right? We need good balance. We need good balance, better balance. All right. I see Brantley asking, what will the Ocavu holiday party be this year, and how can I win tickets to that for my spouse and I? That's actually a pretty cool idea, Brantley. We should invite some Discord people to the Ocavu Christmas party. We always have a white elephant gift exchange at Ocavu and Seek Christmas parties, and that's always fun. That's always been fun, and so we plan on doing that this year as well. But that'll be good. Someone on YouTube asked if there will be any burn. Safe Moon Army, I'm getting back to you on this. I just saw this question. It's a good question. We may burn some at some point. It's not in the plan right now because we want to be able to have it to use for utility. But the purpose of the company treasury is not to just sell it. We don't want to sell it. That you won't see sales coming from that. At the worst case scenario, call it a worst case if you want, we would be using it to pay a vendor or somebody who's interested in, maybe they want $50,000 cash and $50,000 in Ocavu. Okay, great. We have Ocavu to be able to spend on that, and can save cash that we can use to pay employees. So, but we may do some burns, right? If we end up buying a bunch and the the Ocavu network auto depletion is just buying tons and we have too many, or if we decide, hey, you know what, we're not going to do community tokens, like that would be when we would decide to burn. If we decide, hey, we're just not going to do community tokens anymore, that's not in our game plan, we might just burn the treasury, right? And just say, hey, we're going to do that, and that would create massive deflationary pressure, which would be really cool. So, all right, Brantley, good question. Let me see if there's any other questions here in Discord before we continue on here. We're going to be finishing up here pretty quick. Tomato asked on Discord, he said, since you closed the office, take pics in your basement so you can have content to be the next unicorn startup in the news. Yeah, you know what? I think we have the potential to be a unicorn. I really do, guys. If you do the math on, and by the way, we have tons of pictures of us in the basement back when we started Seek in 2016. We were in one basement. We were in Highland, Utah. Started my basement there, and then we kind of outgrew that basement, and so we went and we got a bigger house in Alpine, and we used the whole basement as the office in there. And we got up to like 11 people down there, and then we moved into an office, and we've been in an office since then until now. Yeah, we've at least for a couple months, guys. Our non-office stint is just temporary, right? We'll be back in an office eventually. We'll have at least a workspace. But the thing is, the developers don't like being in an office. They really prefer to be at home. And I did a live poll of during our all hands meeting this last week or whatever. Just said, hey, who would prefer to work in an office versus home? Literally nobody raised their hand. So people like the flexibility of working from home. I like being in an office with people. I actually do. And so anyway, yeah. You know what I want to do, guys? I do want to let's plan on this. We'll figure out the details. But those of you that are in Utah, let's have an Ocavu, a Discord Ocavu party, right? And anybody who wants to come can come. And we'll do something. I don't know what it is. So come up with ideas, share them in Discord, whatever you want, and let's figure out an idea for a party, and we'll do something. I'll just pay for it with Ocavu. I'll just sell a bunch of Ocavu and take the price. No, I won't do that, guys. No, I'll anyway, we'll figure something out. It's simple and fun, but at least we can all get together, have some food, and get to meet each other. That'll be fun. Jason asks, would it make sense to set up a non-employee board of advisors, reviewers for the purpose of reviewing Ocavu products prior to launching to the public, obviously with NDAs in place? Yeah, it's not a bad idea, Jason. Most of the time we get a lot of feedback from our customers. from people that are ready to buy the product, right? But I have no problem, if people want to be testers, free beta testers, or whatever it is, right, of the product. Let us know, and I'm happy to work with you guys, right? Especially people I like you, Jason. So anyway, yeah, I think that's a great idea to be able to focus on that. It's good. That's a good question. So 2 local questions at least. I think Brantley and Jason are both local here. But holiday party. Let's do an Ocavu holiday party. I think it'll be fun. We're having a Christmas party for all the employees, and I don't know, maybe somehow we can involve Discord with that, or I don't know. And then of course Jason asking that question there. All right, guys, I think we're gonna finish up here. I liked both of those answers, and so Brantley and Jason, I have enough tickets. I'll get you guys some tickets to the basketball game versus Missouri State coming up here. So congrats to both of you guys, and they're good tickets too. You get like cool access to the annex, which is like the practice facility that's right next to the Marriott Center. But during the game, the annex is filled with tables. And this last game, they had Tucanos and Chick-fil-A, just like huge buffets of it. And then you go there during halftime. They have tons of snacks and unlimited drinks, whatever. And then you get to go down this private tunnel right down onto the court as you go into the game, and you're like right there with all the players. It's super fun. Anyway, so yeah, Jason and Brantley, please reach out to me. How about we just do this? Just email me, john@ocavu.com, and I will help coordinate with you guys. So it's JON@ocavu.com. So send me an email right now. I'll respond to you. We'll get you tickets, right? We'll get you two for each of you. So hopefully you enjoy some good Cougs time. Okay, guys, I think that's it. Hopefully I answered a lot of questions that have been sitting out there. I apologize. It's been a bit for me. I will be on the next AMA. I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check before I make promises. I know I can't see if I'm not traveling. I'm pretty sure I'm around. So next week is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, since I won't see you before then. For those of you at least that are in the US, happy Thanksgiving. I know there's different Thanksgiving days for everybody. Looks like the next one is November 29th. And I do have a lunch. In Lehigh at noon with actually an investor group that may get in the way of this a little bit, but I'll make it work. I'll make sure I get on. So I'll see you guys on the 29th, and hopefully I have more. I promise you we'll take care of the Ocavu Network token guessing game, award. We'll get that taken care of before the AMA. We'll just try to figure it out on Discord. We'll figure out who has that record, and then we'll figure out something Christmas. Let's do something for Christmas. I love Christmas personally. I'm one of those people that likes to set up my Christmas tree like in July, and then my wife won't let me do it, and so then I don't. And then sometimes it goes up in October, and people think I'm weird when I answer the door for trick-or-treaters, and they're like, "Why's your Christmas tree up?" So anyway, I actually waited till November this year, so I'm proud of myself. Thanks everybody, appreciate it. Have a great day. We'll see you.